What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel, check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on this what's going on in the WNBA, right? And this collective bargaining agreement that's people are talking about, and the possibility of the WNBA players striking. And with all right, number one, I don't think a strike right now for the WNBA is a good idea. The WNBA is still in the red, so they're not really making any money. So right now, for the young ladies of the WNBA to strike, in my opinion, I just think when they're not making, the league is not making any money, they're still in the red. I think it's for the players. It's just you know um yeah, you working against yourself and you're operating in bad faith. You know, the NBA is subsidizing the league, so that's where most of the money is coming from. They got some TV deals and stuff like that, but again, to run the league, it takes a lot of money. And now you have a situation where the players are not satisfied with what they're making, and now they're talking about strike. But then you have Nafisa Collier and you have Breonna Stewart, who are part of that representation team. Um, you know, and if the league go to a strike, then that means that that unrivaled league that these two young ladies are running and that they started, that would benefit the unrivaled league. And so I think that Nafisa Collier and I think that Breonna Stewart really needs to be careful about. I think, first of all, I think they should step down from representing the WNBA because it's a definite conflict of interest, right? Um, if the WNBA goes on strike, that'll definitely benefit the league that Nafisa Collier and Breonna Stewart that they have with the unrivaled. So it's just not a good look for them, and they can set themselves up to be like to get sued, and that might affect unrivaled. So they really need to be careful. I know that now the both of these young ladies, I don't think that they really would do anything to like sabotage the WNBA. To be honest, I don't think they would. But I do think that it's not a good look for them to really be representing the WNBA when they're part owners of that unrivaled league. And so, they put themselves in a win-win situation. They think they put themselves in a win-win situation. Either the WNBA are going to pay them or meet their demands, or if the WNBA don't meet their demands, they go on strike, and then the strike benefits unrivaled. I don't think it's going to turn out like that. I think that if Nafisa Collier and Breonna Stewart don't step away from representing the WNBA, I think they're going to put their unrivaled league at risk. And I think they're going to, because the WNBA could come after them and sue them, for that conflict of interest. I don't even know like who are the lawyers, like who is advising these two young ladies that letting them, like, it's not a good idea to represent the WNBA. As soon as you had another league and they should have stepped away. It shouldn't even come to the point where they could be sitting at the table talking about what's best for the NBA. I mean, for the WNBA. And I don't know, sometimes these young ladies get into their own way. They're in their own way and they do themselves a disservice. Um, that's not to say that, like, if they could still have say so as to what goes on in the WNBA, but they gotta have somebody else representing that the WNBA. You can't have these two young ladies representing the WNBA and representing Unrivaled. That Unrivaled league, they're putting the Unrivaled league at risk, and I don't know if they really realize that. They think that because they are, like they're honest and they probably mean well, but it's not about that. It's about perception, right? Perception can become reality. And so even if it looks like, there's a conflict of interest, then you got a problem. And, you know, um, yeah, and as far as like the WNBA going on strike right now, I if the WNBA, in my opinion, the WNBA going strike, I think that's it for the WNBA. I think that's it. I think what could probably happen is maybe Caitlin Clark may even start her own league. Because if the WNBA go under because of a strike, I think that Unrivaled will go under with it, and then that will open the door for somebody like Caitlin Clark to come in and start her own league. And so, I don't know. And if that's in my opinion, that could possibly happen if the WNBA go on strike. I think these two leagues will they'll cease to exist. Because the WNBA definitely won't allow this Unrivaled league to take them down when they got the NBA and all these other sponsors backing them. The Unrivaled League only have 1 year under their belt, so they don't really have the type of relationships or the type of pool and the backing that it would take for them to go up against somebody like the WNBA and the NBA and all their sponsors. They don't have that kind of leverage. And really, as players, in my opinion, the Unrivaled don't have any leverage, or the WNBA players really don't have any leverage because the league is not making any profit. So if they go on strike, um, you know, I don't even think the strike will last long because most of the young ladies who play in the WNBA don't even have like sponsorship deals. They're starting to make more money because of Caitlin Clark and the growing popularity of the league. So they're starting to make more money when it comes to that, right? But if I'm not a starter in the WNBA, they're not going to be able to strike for long. They're not going to be able to go on strike. If professional football players don't can't do it, they live check to check. Even professional football players, professional basketball players, like when these leagues, the NBA or the NFL or Major League Baseball, when they go on strike and they start to miss some game checks, people get nervous because even though they're making a ton of money, millions of dollars, they're still living check to check. So just imagine a WNBA player. They live check to check too. Also, just like other millionaires, and they may not even be millionaires and living check to check. So, in my opinion, I don't think the WNBA players have a lot of leverage. And I don't think that they're getting good advice. Whoever's representing them, I don't think they're giving them good advice. Now, if they find out that like the NBA or the WNBA is hiding some money and they're making more money than what they're letting these young ladies, then they have to prove that. But other than that, man, I don't think the WNBA players have a lot of leverage to go on strike. I don't think a strike would benefit the WNBA, and I don't think a strike would even benefit the Unrivaled League. Some people say that it is a conflict of interest. And some people say, well, then all the players will come from the WNBA and go over to the Unrivaled League. But then I don't think that the WNBA is going to allow you to sabotage their league, walk away with the players, and then start your own league somewhere else. I think, I think they'll just be committing career suicide if they did something like that. And so, yeah, I don't think the WNBA benefit or Unrivaled benefit. And then Caitlin Clark may step in and start up her own league. And so, but that's my take on it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.